Hi, everyone. I hope all of you are doing fine, and welcome to the webinar. I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to start right away speaking about Damas and what's Damas drive, and what exactly does this tool do. So please, I should not take 45 minutes. It's going to take a little bit shorter, short time than that. So please take your time. And if you have questions, you can ask them in your own language at the end. So don't be shy. Please ask your questions. If you're in Brazil, ask them directly in Portuguese, or if you are in some other Latin country, please go directly in Spanish. So you can speak. You don't have to write it in English. So Damas and Damas coverage or Damas drive, what exactly is? So go back in time, and so you all know, Sigfox does has a coverage tool, which is not very good at all because it doesn't have. First, it's just a prediction tool, so it's just a forecast of from a theoretical point of view, and even from a theoretical point of view, it doesn't take into account the morphology only a little bit because it's not very detailed. And it doesn't take into account trees, buildings, or what have you. They don't have it. They soon going to change into a new prediction tool, which is going to be a little better. But as far as we know, still it's going to be a prediction and not the real thing. So we thought about it and how to move and how to display real coverage. And as you know, there is a lot of devices out there, and some of these devices are transmitting latitude and longitude, so we know exactly where they are. And by knowing where they are and by knowing a timestamp, so it exactly when the message was transmitted, we have information from Sigfox on a base station by base station basis with the signal level. So marrying the two together, we thought that would be an advantage point of view to have all this information in one single tool and show you exactly where the device is and what is this device transmitting. So let me move forward. So this is only, I'm going to waste much time on this. This is just the rationality in terms of the backend. So we have several types of devices collecting information. Let me go into exactly which, and then I'll go a little bit forward exactly which ones they are. But of course, we could not collect every single device and show you every single device. The tool would be too slow and you would not be able to understand anything. So we divided each one of the countries in grids, in little squares, which are more or less 100 meters by 100 meters. And then we look every single day during a period of 24 hours. So what you see is the previous day. So for example, when you go to the tool today, you're going to see what happened yesterday, what happened 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and so forth. And for each grid, we are looking if a device has been on that grid, exactly what was the signal level, link quality, and to which base stations this device was talking to. And then we take the average of all this, of the grid, and we tell you that in this grid, the average RSSI is X, the average link quality is Z, and the number of base stations that was received by the collection of all devices in that grid was this one. So you get a precise information, grid by grid, of exactly how many base stations can be received on that grid, what's the signal level, and what's the link quality. And how we are doing this? We are doing this with Loca. So Loca is one of the main devices that we are collecting information from. And Loca has a GeoServer, which is a machine that translates the Wi-Fi MAC addresses into latitude and longitude. So we know exactly where every Loca is in real time. And we are collecting this information in real time into a database. With the I button from Colombia, we know how to decode the payload. So we are decoding the payload and translating where the device is at each determined time. and we are doing exactly the same thing with Suntech. So we know from all these devices where exactly they are, and by matching the timestamp when each one of the has transmitted the message with the base station data that we are collecting, and then we go and see in which grid did the device fit in, and then we collect information for that grid, and we take the average, as I said just a while ago, and then we collect that information and show it to you in the tool. We also have several fixed location devices. And for example, in UK, there is a company called HomeServe, which is going to use this tool. And they have leak detectors, and we know exactly where this leak detector is located, in which building. So, and we have a list, a huge list of latitude and longitude per device, so we know exactly where they are. And there is other like meters, and in Brazil also we're going to use meters. In Mexico we also have that. So in Colombia we also, some of the I buttons we know exactly where they are. They could not be sending latitude and longitude, but we know they're fixed locations. And whenever they transmit, we have the timestamp again. We compared with the base station messages that we are collecting every single day, and then we put the two together and we show it in the grid. Plus, of course, from all the contracts that have Atlas native active and they have a callback, we are collecting all the information. So we are collecting information from all the GPS devices that we know how to decode information from, which is Centec, iButton, and Loca. All the fixed locations. So whenever we have a list of fixed locations, we put it into the tool, and from that day on, they will be collected, plus all the devices with Atlas native active. We have a bunch of information that we are collecting on a daily basis, and this is just to show you how the grid, for example, on the top left corner, how the grids are evolving every single day. Mexico is the country with the highest density of grids covered, and then comes the other ones. And we look more or less to have an idea how the tool is being used. Also, we look at link quality and network diversity on a country-by-country basis, and this report is weekly distributed. The tool at this time is available for iOS. So you can see it on the iOS, and we'll do a demo very, very, very shortly. So you can download it from the Apple Store. The Android tool is also available and can be downloaded from the Google Play Store. So if you're using an Android, no problem, you have it. As you can see, there is the icon. You click on the icon, the app is launched, and the look and feel is very similar to the Apple one. And of course, in each one of these releases, we also have a user manual that can be consulted, and I'll show you how. You can take screenshots when you are using the app, so you can send it to a client if a client has a question over a certain area. So all these facilities are available, but on the live demo, it's a lot easier to see. What's going to happen next in terms of releases before going to the demo? We're going to change the map into a map called Mapbox. So we are using Google, but we think that Mapbox has a much better user experience in terms of performance, and that will be available soon. We're also going to have a side-by-side comparison between the prediction tool from Sigfox and the real information, and that will be fun to see how many does exist from the prediction tool that everyone has access, and to our tool that shows the real coverage. We have done also the postal code information on a grid-by-grid basis. This is a UK-only functionality. So you click on the grid and and you get the zip code of where this grid is covering. So you have a list of postcodes that are covered by this grid. And of course, as you all know, this is still on tests, and we'll be moving into production very soon. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and then move to the other screen. So bear with me a second, and I'm going to show you exactly how. So I think now you can see my screen. So here, this is an iPhone. and I'm only able to show you at this time on the iPhone. I'm going to launch Damas Drive, and so you click on the icon of Damas Drive, and the app is launched. It takes a little bit of time to log in, and since I was already logged in before, I did not have to put my username and password. It times out after an hour. So if you have to, you should use the credentials of one login. They are the same. So if you already have one login credentials with access to Damas Drive, this is where you put your username and password on it. Okay. I'm going to switch to, for example, to Mexico to show you the user experience. So what you see right here, by default, you see the map of Mexico, and you're looking at two RSSI, so received signal level. And you have the legend here on the bottom right corner, where you can see green is anything better than minus 122 dBm, yellow from 122 dBm to 135 dBm, and red worse than minus 135 dBm. So what you see here on the screen is mostly green. I can zoom in into Mexico City, and now here I'm right downtown Mexico City. I can switch to link quality, and I have clicked on link quality, and now the color grid is different from the one before. So you have excellent, very, very green, good, average, and limit. Okay. Also, besides link quality, you can have base station count. So here what you have is the number of grids covered by more than 3 base stations, 2 base stations, and 1 base station. Of course, as you know, due to the diversity of Sigfox, it's almost mandatory to have more than 3. A device should be all the time covered more than 3 base stations. As you can see, it doesn't look so bad, especially downtown Mexico City, for exactly this parameter. Another thing that you can click, is on this one here, and this gives you an information how old is each one of the grids. So green, now it's everything covered yesterday. So all those grids were updated exactly yesterday, and so forth. 2 and 7, 8 and 30, in more than 31 days ago. All right. So going back to RSSI, now I can click on any grid, and on this grid, you're getting the last date the grid was updated. So on the 10th, so this grid was updated yesterday. How many base stations does this grid is covered by? So 11. What's the best server? And that's the base station best server. The average RSSI and the link quality. I can also turn on the base station layer, and I'm going to do so now. So I have turned on the base station layer. Of course, you can zoom in further. And now, so if I click on this grid here, you can see that this grid is covered by 3 base stations, and each one of them are linked with this line. So, and the green one is showing you the best server. So the best server is the 67B5. And so if I click there, that's exactly the one it is. Okay. So you even can get the base station ID. So if you click on each one of the base stations. So this is all you can see. You can turn the base station layer on and off. You also can turn the legend on and off. I just see it's gone. I can turn the legend on again. Another thing that you also have available is if you click on the question mark, the user manual shows up, and you have access to the user manual. I can refresh and go back to the previous screen, which in this case is going to take me to the UK, because I have access to all the countries. But if I would be doing this with, for example, a Mexican access, you'd be going back to Mexico and not to the UK, of course. Going back here, you also can search for a location. So you can enter a location like you do in any Google map, and go directly to that postal code, location, what have you. And here you can see quite interesting things. For example, you can see coverage in the sea here on this beautiful coast in Mexico, where I wish I was at this time. And this is boats that were going back and forth. So you can see the coverage extending. Let me show you also, for example, if we go here into the UK to show you other shipping examples, and this is clear ferry into Dunkirk from forget the name of the city in UK, but it goes into Dunkirk. And you can see ships going by. You also, sometimes airplanes are caught. For example, if I click on this dot, you can see this dot was covered by 75 base stations. So if I put the base station layer, you can see this clear. Someone was using a device in the airplane. Okay. Other interesting things, of course, being a Google Map, you can also, going here now to Brazil, so we don't have always the same country, you can switch into map view, and I can go here into São Paulo and go directly and see exactly how is the coverage in São Paulo. And of course, if I click again, here on, I click on the red dot, I'm sorry. I should have clicked on the green one. But here you can see it. This data was collected on the 13th of the 6th, a few days, just about a month ago. And the number of base stations covered was only 1, and the best server. So this information keeps repeating itself from country to country. But this is, I just wanted to show you the exactly user experience that you have. So if you're using an Android, it will be exactly the same as you can see on this one. You also can take a screenshot, and then you can go to the photos, and it's going to be there. So if you are using an iPhone, and because this is quite handy, because sometimes you're getting questions from clients, and the clients want to see the coverage, and you can take a snapshot and send it by email. Another information that also will not be available to channel partners is the base station. So this layer is only available to us that are working with WND. So when this will start being used by channel partners, this information will be disabled. They won't be able to see it. Okay, I think I covered most of it, or all of it. So waiting for some of your questions. I was just going to turn the screen share off and open to questions.
Perfect, Vasco. Thank you very much. We have some questions here. Please write your questions in the chat box, or if you want to say something, please raise your hand and I will open the microphone for you. Okay, so Daniel Guevara asked when a desktop version is going to be available. Sorry.
It's very soon. We are almost finishing it up, so it should be available quite very soon.
Perfect. The second one, where can I see the disclaimer?
The disclaimer it's in the manual.
If you want to show, or
no. I can show it. Wait a minute. Bear with me because I have to look for it. It's in the disclaimer.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. How can I see if I have access as a WND staff?
You have to talk to us. Just send us an email or a Slack message, and we'll check.
Perfect. Another question. What is the procedure to register as a user, internal WND and external?
Still only internal. External, we are only doing this with friendly channel partners, and we are only doing this in the UK now, and starting in Mexico very soon with Daniel and the channel partner. It will be extended, but not now. For internal, you just everyone it must have access. So you just send us a Slack message saying that you don't have access, and we'll provide it.
Okay, thank you. Another one. Is this available to channel partners? When? And is this now available to all countries, even outside WND's countries?
It's available for all countries, WND. It's available for an external SO at this time. And for channel partners, it's going to be available soon as the tool goes into production. As I said, it's available now for channel partners. There is already 102 channel partners using it. There will be one more very soon in Mexico. But at this time, we are doing experiment. It's just a trial for friendly channel partners.
Thank you. Another question. Is it possible or advisable to present the tool in a workshop in order to demonstrate the coverage and collaborative network in which several antennas give service to a device or multiple devices?
Sure, this has been done by our colleagues in UK, and anyone can do the same as they are doing it, which is showing it in meetings with customers. Yes, it can be done, and it should be done.
We can plan when can I develop it. Another question? No more questions, guys. We don't have enough more questions. Sorry. So Daniel Guevara, amazing job. So we will wait few seconds, just if someone wants to make
has any more questions, please let us know.
Please take advantage of this space where we can resolve our doubts. It's important to solve them because it's a very important system of coverage.
Someone is asking, how could we add more devices?
Yes.
Okay, so how can we add more devices? It's not complicated. We just need to know. The only thing we need to know, actually, in order to add more devices into the tool, is know how to decode the payload. So the only thing we need is a document from the device manufacturer, that explains exactly in which byte is the GPS and how it should be decoded. That's exactly how we did with Suntech, and that's exactly how we did it with YI Button from Colombia. Local, we don't need to do it because we have an API. So, or if it's a device using Wi-Fi and MAC addresses, and then they have a geo server, we need access to their geo server in order to get the latitude and longitude, because the only thing we need is a timestamp when the message was transmitted to match it with our backend, which is Splunk or actually Google, and then the latitude and longitude, nothing else.
Thank you, Vasco. Another question: are you talking with Simple Hardware?
I haven't talked to them, no. But if we can get somebody to introduce us to them, yes, so we can talk to Simple Hardware and find out how to decode the information from them. I'm assuming it's a GPS device they have.
Perfect. More questions? The parameter to take the best station is only the RSSI.
The best server is defined by the RSSI, yes.
Perfect. More questions?
So what you get is the base station that has the highest probability and was receiving the message in that grid. So that from all the message transmitted within the grid, see that the device normally is talking to 5 or 6 base stations. The device next door, right next, is talking to 3 or 4. The other one probably is inside the bathroom and it's only talking to 1 base station. We analyzed the whole thing, and give you what's the most common used base station of that grid.
Perfect. Another question. Could we have in the future something related with noise? A layer related with noise?
A layer, we have link quality, which is nothing to do with it. We have RSSI, which is the signal level. The problem is noise on that grid. The devices are transmitting, they don't receive. They receive, yes, but when they get the downlink message, but I don't see how then we can know the noise level at the device level. I can speak in Spanish or Portuguese, both. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody is yes. Of course, if somebody has a question in Spanish or Portuguese, please do it on your own language. If you're not good in English, don't be shy. We are multilingual here.
We will wait a few seconds.
No, just use the tool. No, as much I haven't seen much usage. I see there is we have very good clients that use the tool every day, but it's only one or two. And it's very important. I know, for example, Tim Harris in the UK goes to a lot of meetings with clients, and he uses the tool to show exactly how the coverage is, because this is the coverage that a client should trust. This is the real thing out there, and it's not something that is predicted by a tool based on theoretical formulas. This is exactly the signal level transmitted by a device and received by the base station where the device was. So the device saying that, actually the base station is saying, I'm seeing this device with minus 122 dBm. It's because exactly that device is being received with minus 122 dBm. And what we do is, it's very rational, in my opinion, because we take the average on those 100 by 100 meters of 10, 15, 50, 100 devices that were on that grid, okay? The more devices we have, of course, collecting this information, the best. Because, of course, there's countries not with too many grids, and the more devices out there collecting GPS, with the GPS information that we know how to decode, the best for the tool, because it's statistically more relevant to have 100,000 grids than only 10,000 grids.
Is this another question? Is this system available for Android system?
Yes, yeah, it's available for Android and Apple. And the question, the other question is, en sitio no tenemos cobertura, pero no hay dispositivos transmitiendo esa área. In places where you don't see a grid, so for example, so if you looked into Mexico City, there is this park in the middle of Mexico City that doesn't have any grid. What does it mean? Doesn't mean that that park doesn't have grid coverage. It could have coverage. It only means that no one went into the park with a loca on this pocket, for example, and with a GPS loca, and that loca has transmitted the messages. Means that it could have coverage. Just means that no device has collected information. So if you zoom into Mexico City, you can very clearly see a circle. So if you zoom in further, you can see that this is the park with trees and all this, and there is no grids. Why there is no grids? Because no one has collected information from there. Of course, on other places where you see coverage, and all of a sudden the coverage stops, and so if you turn the base station layer, you can clearly understand that there is no coverage because there is no more base stations. Someone is asking a signal to noise ratio. The signal to noise ratio is a figure that Sigfox is not very keen in using it, because it's not the way the base station decodes the signal level. It's something that we should not trust. So it's not something from a technical point of view that makes a lot of sense to have. So what we have only is RSSI and link quality. And the link quality, of course, is a table based on the RSSI and the number of base stations receiving that message. Which, so if you guys don't know the table and the conversion, I can give you. It's a table. It's available on ask.sigfox.com, and you can have a look at this table.
More questions?
The other question also was in places where there is no grid coverage, and there is coverage, but Damas Drive doesn't show coverage. The only send someone out there. No, send someone out there with a Loca, with the Atlas enabled devices, with a Suntech, with the I button, or have any, especially the network teams, when you go to the base stations, when people are moving around the country to talk to clients, always carry Locas, carry Suntechs, carry iButtons, or carry any Atlas enabled device with you, and the information will be, it's being collected every single day. And don't be shy. We're not going to know where you are, because this is grid. So we are not looking at individual devices from individual people. We are averaging the grid, and we don't know who was on that grid at a certain time. So we're not Big Brother on this tool. Because we're trying, actually, this is, the more you move around with a GPS enabled devices collecting information to Damas Drive, the more reach the tool will be, and the more, and of course, the better information we can provide the clients when the clients / channel partners start using the tool, which of course it's ready to be used by channel partners now, because now we have, as I said a while ago, the ability to switch off the base station layer when we know the user is a channel partner. Dispositivos en roaming. Yeah, yes. Any device in each one of the SOs, even if it's in roaming and it's a GPS enabled device that we know how to decode, we are taking into account all devices. We're not excluding anything. Because remember, I said we are looking at base station messages. We're not looking at device message. Since we are looking at the base station's messages, we have every single device in your country, even if they don't belong to you.
Another question. Could I see the base station in USA that received the message from Mexican devices?
Unfortunately not, because we don't have US as our Damas client, so they don't use Damas. And since, as I said, we are collecting information from the base station messages, and since we are not collecting anything from the US, no.
Another question. Is it available in Google Play, or I need an invitation board downloaded?
On Google Play, we just need you to send us a Slack message with your Gmail account that you use on Google Play. So send us an email with your Google Play account. And this is only temporary, because while the tool is on tests mode, because we have moved it from developing into testing, and then when it moves to production, that will not be needed anymore, because the tool is available in the Google Play Store to be downloaded by anyone that wishes to download the tool. Of course, anyone is able to download the tool, but not anyone will be able to use the tool until we give them access via one login.
Another question. Continuing with the Daniel Guevara question of USA. He said the opposite. Yes,
the
right?
opposite is correct. Yes, yes, yes. Any device, and actually, so if you go to, I believe it's in San Diego. So if you go to, or very south of San Diego, you can see devices in US being in Damas Drive. And actually, for example, in UK, we have devices in a small city in Denmark, which is miles and miles away, and you can see them being collected by Damas Drive in Denmark. In Denmark, so if you look at the map, it's far. It's quite far. But in San Diego, yes, no problems. If the device is shooting across the border, of course, or in San Antonio, Texas, as well.
Another question: can you grant a ticket on Jira to request access?
Yes. Yes, you just have to request a Damas on the internal.wnd.com. It's more or less like this, wndgroup.io. Sorry. So if you go to internal.wndgroup.io and you go into one login request, you can specifically say that you want one login access to Damas Drive, and then our colleague Forward will give you access.
Another question: if I have a one login account, I automatically has access to Damas Drive?
Nope. As if you have to specifically ask for Damas Drive access. So if you already have any one of you, so if you already have a one login account, you must go to what I told you, to internal.wndgroup.io, and ask for an additional one login access to Damas Drive, and then Forward will give it to you.
Another question: who will cover the cost for external users access to one login?
The cost. That's a good question.
Yes, the cost.
The cost will be covered by WND Group.
Perfect. More questions? Okay, I think we don't have more questions. If someone wants to say something, just raise your hand and I will open the microphone. You can do it in English, in Spanish, or in Portuguese. Okay, Vasco, I think we don't have any more questions. So thank you very much for your webinar, your space here presenting Damas Drive. It's an important system that we will take an advantage of its functions and all the stuff about covering. And thank you guys for being here with us. And please stay tuned with other webinars that we will have this week and the other week and more weeks. And thank you, Vasco.
No, thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. And if you guys have any particular question, or you have a question, or you don't know how to do something, or you don't know how to install it, or you have problems installing it, we are always available in Slack 24/7 almost. So give us a chat in Slack. It's the easiest way to get in touch with us.
Can you share with us, please, your email?
Vasco.barreiros at wndgroup.io.
Vasco.barreiros
at wndgroup.io.
WND Group. Okay, thank you very much. Is there any email of Damas?
Damas, Damas support at wnetdev.com.
Give me a second. Damas
Tracinho. I don't
support.
know how you say that in English.
Damas support
at wnetdev.com.
Can you write it by the chat, please?
Wait.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Please take note of those emails. Okay, Vasco, thank you very much for this space, and bye-bye. See you next time.
Okay, obrigado. Gracias.
Obrigado a todos. Muchas gracias a todos. Hasta luego. Hasta la próxima.